Welcome to the Rock and Roll James YouTube channel. I've got next to me guitarist extraordinaire from the band Sons of Texas, Jesse De Hoyos.
What's up? What's happening? What's going on?
And was it totally original, or you were doing just covers?
Yeah,
or?
no, all original.
All
Both
original.
bands were all original.
Okay.
But I told John, I was like, man, we got to get back. I want to get back on a guitar, you know, and work with you.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, what do you got? Who do you have in mind? I was like, we can work with these two dudes at whatever, you know, drum and bass. And then I was like, Mark. And John and Mark didn't like each other in the beginning. They were like, nah, you know, it's kind of weird. Like, they had a weird vibe about each other. And John was like, I don't know if that guy, that's our guy for what we want to do. And I showed him a CD that Mark had done at his house on his computer, man. Like, just him and an acoustic and doing weird sounds on the mic and like singing over it. And John was like, dude, where the hell's this guy been? Like, I didn't know he could sing like that. I go, I'm telling you, man.
Like, I saw him at a place called, he was doing acoustic, and it was Aces North. It was a bar north of 10th and McAllen. And I was just totally blown away with his singing ability, his vocal ability, you know, live, you know, and with an acoustic.
Yeah.
And so when I found out he was playing with you guys, I was like, man, you guys had a top-notch singer, man, a great talent with Mark.
Yeah.
And so then Mark came into the fray, and
yeah, man.
When did the name Texas come about, or what?
It was, I don't even know how we got named that way. I think it was, I don't know who picked it, but the idea was to kind of set the bar high, because Texas is huge. Everybody, I don't care who you are in the Valley. You can act stupid all you want. I mean, in the world, you can act stupid all you want. Texas is the biggest state, and it comes with a pride, and it comes with a certain feeling. You know, you're from Texas, and if you call yourself like Boston or like, you know, those bands that have the names after their places they live in, that kind of stuff. If you name yourself Texas, you better swing for the fucking fences. I don't care who you are. So we kind of were like, let's set the bar really high and make sure we meet and exceed that. And that was the idea behind it. And then just things were kind of going, you know, south with the name, because we started to pick up some steam. And then people were like even telling us, you got to change your name because, you know, it's going to be hard with Google and all this stuff. And for me, I was like, nah.
With a search engine.
Yeah. Eventually, we find out there's a band in Glasgow, Scotland. It's a female-fronted pop band that has had the name forever. And they have like platinum hits. And our lawyer at the time was like, I mean, I'll go to bat for you. If you want to fight, we'll fight. It's going to take forever. You're probably going to lose, and we're going to lose money. I was like, man, there's no sense in it. Let's just change it.
I know you all got the opportunity to go play at River City Rockfest. How did that come about? That was like a battle of the bands or something like that, or what?
Battle of the bands. There was, I think, what they called 3 heats. It was like 3 rounds. The top X amount went on to the second round, and then from there, the top X amount went on to the last round. And the last round, we're going head to head with some buddies of ours from Corpus.
Where was the Battle of the Bands held at, or what?
It is now called, man, I can't remember it.
But was it here locally?
No, it was in San Antonio. It's called the White Rabbit then.
Okay, yeah.
But now it's called, I can't remember what the hell it's called now.
It was on Parent Bidle, I think.
Paper Tiger. That's what
Tiger.
it's called. Yeah, it was called White Rabbit at the time.
So you guys had to go to San Antonio to compete for that slot, and so you went up there and you competed, and you said you had against some guys from Corpus, or what was that?
Yeah, at the last heat, at the very end, we were going head to head with our buddies from Shattered Sun at the time. I mean, we'd played a show or two or something like that with them, and we thought they were cool guys, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
they're from the Alice area, right?
Alice,
Alice, Texas,
and
Shattered Sun.
Yeah,
They're doing pretty good as well,
dude.
man. They're a good band, great band.
Dude, they're badass, man. They're a great band. And we thought we were gonna lose. We're like, man, these guys are fucking badass. There's no way we're gonna win. And for whatever reason, we ended up winning, and we got the spot to play on the first annual River City Rockfest. We're the first band of the first annual River City Rockfest, and we were the first band of the second annual River City Rockfest.
That's
man,
freaking awesome.
Incredible.
Now, when you got to River City Rockfest, you guys played because there's 2 different stages, right? Or
I think it was like 4. There was an acoustic one inside.
Okay.
There was a main stage out this way. There was a second stage out this way, and then there was like kind of like the smaller stage. And that's the one we played. We played the smallest stage. We were the first band, the smallest band on the bill, but we were just stoked to be there, man. You know what I mean? They were like giving us this opportunity to play, and then on top of that, you're gonna get to see all these badass bands on the list. You know, it's just, it was cool, man. It was a great experience.
And you went when you performed at the River City Rockfest at San Antonio. Was it under the name Texas or Sons of Texas?
It was under Texas for the first one. I'm not sure about the second one. I think the second one we might have already been Sons of Texas. I don't recall, but the first one for sure was under Texas.
And when the labels came in, when you got somebody, did they see you there, or was it there that they found out about you guys?
No, that was
the labels get wind of you?
Dude, that was luck, man. And what I mean by luck, I told Sam Daly the same thing. I go, luck is just preparation for opportunity. Whenever preparation and opportunity meet, that's luck. That's the right combination to, you got to be able to execute. And we were fortunate enough to go up to South by Southwest, and we were broke down, dude. We broke down. Our vehicle broke down. We were late. And actually, our good buddies in Skytree were like, hey, man, we called them. We're like, hey, can we swap, spots because we're late?
Shout out to Raul Garza from Skytree.
Raul Garza from Skytree, man. And they were cool enough to say, yeah, man, this thing, whatever, go for it. Y'all can take our spot. And then we got there just in time for our spot, which was Skytree's spot. And then we went on stage, and for whatever reason, some guy caught wind of us, and he was like, hey, man, I need a disc of y'all's like music, whatever. Do you have one? And we just happen to have demos that we printed that week, and we gave it to him. His name was Shane Wells. He was an A&R guy for a label called Red Bull Records, and he liked our stuff. He pitched our stuff to Red Bull Records.
Where's that label out of? LA or California?
Shit, man, I don't remember. I think it might be either California or New York. One of them. And the guy pitched it to the label, and he kept in touch with us over the years, like a couple years, trying to see if we would develop a little bit more, because we're still in our infancy, trying to, learn the ways and the things, that kind of stuff you got to do. And he was like, man, just keep at it. It turned out they didn't want us. You know what I mean? We didn't fit the profile of the kind of bands they wanted on their bill, which is cool, man. It's their label, whatever. Yeah. But it was cool to us that he gave us a shot and decided to pitch us and that kind of thing. And then from what I understand, I don't have a clue if this is even true. This is something I heard through somebody else that heard it from Shane. The main A&R from Red Bull Records had lunch with a guy who was an attorney and gave him our 4-track demo. And he called me, dude, like 11 o'clock at night. I'm asleep I'm not asleep, but I'm laying down with my wife watching movies on the laptop before we go to bed. And I get this call. My phone says Los Angeles, California. And I'm like, there's no way this is a fucking bill collector at 11 p.m. If it is, they're going to get a piece of it. And I was like, boom, turned it up. Hello? I'm looking for somebody from the band Texas. And I was like, who's this? Like, what's up, dude? You know what I mean? And he was like, oh, my name's Eric German, this and this and that. He was our lawyer at the time. And he called us, and like, I was like, man, I don't know who this guy is. I've never heard of him, that kind of thing. And turns out we'd heard of his achievements, though. Like people he'd helped sign, cases he'd won. He was part of the litigation team, if I'm not mistaken, that beat Napster. And I was like, man, like my wife's Googling him simultaneously with the laptop while I'm on the phone, because I got him on the speaker. And end of the phone call, his words were, I'm going to get you a record deal. And I was like, shit, like that's fucking awesome. Yeah. Just to hear those words to somebody. Like, I just stood there and I was like, badass. Like, I look forward to hearing from you again. I didn't know how to end it. Boom. Hung up the phone call, and I was looking at my wife.
You couldn't sleep the rest of the night.
I couldn't, dude. I couldn't sleep. And my wife's like, yo, this is fucking weird. Like, how did this come out of nowhere? Look behind the curtain, see if Ashton Kutcher's back there punking us or something. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? And like, no, man, he called us back a few weeks later. And he had somebody in his office that was from Razor and Tie. His name is Mike Gitter, and I guess Eric was on speaker because Mike was hearing us in the background. Mike Gitter, our A&R guy or the guy that signed us to Red Bull. Razor and Tie. He was hearing in the background. And he goes, "I love your music." He was screaming. And I was like, "Man, he can hear what we're saying." Like, who is this guy? And my wife, again, Googling the shit out of this guy. Who is it? He had signed Killswitch Engage. I think he'd signed Megadeth to Roadrunner. And, like, just all these lists of credentials were stacking up. And if you look up Mike Gitter's got some legendary shit under his belt. He's a fucking rock star, this guy. And I thank him to this day for taking his shot on us and saying, hey, I'm going to give you guys a fucking chance. I was like, dude, badass. And he was like, you got any shows lined up so I can go check y'all out? And just had a string of dates in Texas. And he's like, I'm flying out to Houston. I was like, fuck. is this legit? Like, he's like, yeah, we'll be there. Went to Houston. We're like, this guy's not gonna show up. He's not gonna come. It's all right. It was cool, you know. Even if it doesn't come, it was cool that this shit happened. He showed up, dude. He showed up. He watched us. We performed. We spoke with him afterwards. He was cool as shit. And he's like, no, man, you guys exceeded expectation. Like, you did well, that kind of stuff. I'm gonna talk to the label and we'll see if we can discuss about getting you guys signed to Razor and Tie. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm like trying not to feel like, whatever, if it doesn't happen, I'm not gonna get my hopes up. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, fuck, this is great. You know, like just stoked. Like the fucking 15-year-old in the back of my mind is like, this is fucking awesome. You know, like losing it in there.
I could just imagine.
No, man, he back and forth for a few weeks. He gave us a fucking record deal, and our lawyer was like, no, well, this and that. Like, let's hold on, let's see if we can get a better deal. Lawyers, man, you know what I mean? They're gonna want the BBD, bigger, better deal. Mm-hmm. And he helped us get a better deal. This motherfucker, man. I was like, he knows his shit. He helped us get a better deal. And like back and forth for an eternity, but it ended up being 2 months. Looking back now, 2 months went by like a breeze. And he told me that. He's like, dude, you feel like impatient, but 2 months is going to look like nothing.
Like 2 days.
Yeah, later on. And sure enough, looking back, it was quick, man. And soon enough, they sent us a contract. And looking at it, reading it, and like, we were like, we don't even understand what this means. Mm-hmm. You know, like, because it was in
all the wording,
documentation.
That stuff,
like, so we
had Can you write this in English, please?
We had our lawyer break it down for us over the phone. Everybody agreed. Finally, we went to my wife's work at the time. I'm not going to mention because I don't know if that's going to be a bad thing or not. But we printed out the stuff, and all of us were sitting there at the same time. Boom, jotted it down, sent it back, and it was like, dude, welcome to Razor and Tie. And we're like, holy shit, dude, is this real? Like, you know what I mean? They announced it. There was a big push for Baptizing the Rio Grande, and just people like sharing it and all kinds of shit. And I was like, dude, this is happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some shit you dream about as a kid, and you're like, if nothing else happens, this was cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If whatever the fuck happens, this was cool. And that's how that entire web of events went down. It was just like a fucking weird, like Guy Ritchie film. You know what I mean? Like shit happening from here, shit happening from over there, kind of, you know, just different angles and then web of events that link each other up to. And I was like, man, it's just like a mind job thinking about all the whole thing. But it's cool, man. Like just that whole lead up to getting the record deal.
What was the contract like? I mean, was it like a 2-album deal, a 3-album deal? What did they expect from you? What was your responsibility to them?
It was either 4+1 or 5+1, which means 4 albums for sure, and then the option to do the 5th if they want. And I got to go over it again. I don't remember what's in the actual contract, but it was either 4+1 or 5+1. And they gave us X amount of money to do a record, and we had already discussed who we wanted to get to produce, and we had like a list of dudes. But John was adamant. He was like, dude, have you heard Josh Wilbur's mixes? Like Lamb of God, you know, Hate Breed, all these, like, just, again, stacks of credits. I was like, dude, he's not going to want to work with us. He's not going to. It's not going to happen. Somebody that big and that established is not going to want to work with us. Apparently, and again, I don't know. I think we actually spoke to Josh about it, and he confirmed it. He said, it took me 2 seconds into a live video of you guys to say yes. And I'm like, how? 2 seconds from a video? And I think it was, at the time, the song was called Piss in the Wind. Now it's called Pull It in Fire.
Yeah.
We played it live. I think it was River City.
Those guys, they hear and see things that we can't, bro. I mean,
yes,
they're like almost savants, man. You know,
absolutely. Man.
They're way ahead of all of us, bro. You know what I mean? And all they need is 2 seconds or 3 seconds to know what they got in their, in their bag, there, man. So that's very interesting. A lot of people don't. It's like MMA. Some are world class fighters, and some aren't. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of producer that dude is, man.